This is Coach Lee, and you're listening to The Door Report.
I'm jacked.
I'm jacked to the test.
Good. You feel it?
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast, midget. Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast. Bob, are you here? I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Too much money in my fucking head.
Get your shit straight and fucking let's party together.
Welcome back into The Door Report and welcome into episode 330 on a lovely fall feeling Tuesday evening, August 26, 2025. I am Will Byrum, joined as always by my co-host Trevor Hulan, aka Hacksquat, Jim Duggan, fresh off his first day on his journey to becoming a doctor.
Yeah, first day of my doctoral program. You would know what my first task was as a graduate assistant?
I do know, but I'm not going to spoil it.
It was going around the newly built psychology building and checking all the outlets and making sure they worked. So I'm actually very thankful that was my first task. Very easy, hard to mess up. So thank you.
Grit powered, just straight out of a day full of doctoral pursuit activities, straight onto the mic to preview the week one matchup of the 2025 Vanderbilt football season. And we are joined, as you saw go across the screen, by our producer. Thanks for popping up, Phoebe. We are not joined by Phoebe's assistant today as he is working. But here at the Door Report, we are presented by 615 Collectibles. If you're into sports cards or sports memorabilia, check out 615 Collectibles on eBay. Items include NFL team packs, graded cards, individual cards, and more. Shipping is always fast and free. We also have an affiliate sponsor in Roback. I am currently rocking the second available Vanderbilt polo on Roback.com. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing it right now. Very complex pattern. Dan Flashes-esque for any Tim Robbins guys.
I was going to say, do you want me to describe the pattern to our audio listeners?
Yes, describe
Yeah,
it.
so it is a black performance polo with miniature gold Vanderbilt V's patterning the shirt. Looks speckled from a distance, but up close you can see that they are very detailed and precise fat V's. Gold, of course, not white, gold fat V's.
Buttery soft, but the ad read Roback Activewear. There is only one way to describe Roback: best fit, best feel. For those who aren't familiar with Roback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Roback has released so many items within their newly licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and quarter zip designs for some of your favorite schools, it's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing these levels of custom designs with this quality of activewear. Roback's everyday shorts or their Delta performance pants are the perfect pairing as well. They're both super comfortable, have an elastic waistband, and great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short look, but the comfort for a day on the move. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with multiple college football stars, past and present, and are becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. You can use code VAN20, that is VAN20, no spaces, on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That is spelled Roback, RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with code VAN20. Again, that is VAN20 with no spaces. Re-emphasizing buttery soft.
Yeah, the amount of people who have DM'd us photos of their new Vanderbilt Roback gear has been awesome. We appreciate you guys for supporting us and glad that you guys are liking the Vanderbilt Roback polos. They look great. I love the collage one. A lot of people are a big fan of the collage one. The other one that you own.
That's probably going to be my game day.
That's a big popular one.
It's probably going to be my game day polo that I wear. I am a little afraid that we're going to have a lot of matching polos in the Lot 2 tailgate
No, hey,
with
dude,
Roback. Hey,
rock it.
we're going to look so cute all together.
Rock it, dude.
Yeah, rock out with your blank out.
Rock
All
out
right.
with your Roback.
With your Roback out. Rock out with your Roback out. On 3, that's why you pay us the big bucks. Stuff like that.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah, we're still going to be with On 3 for a while.
I was going to say,
so I
is
don't
there...
know if we're whatever. It's not fully visual yet. Good things, whatever. We're good with On 3. So we will provide more information as we continue to go. But TDR is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
The train keeps rolling.
The train keeps rolling. I do want to add in the intro here, we are previewing Vanderbilt's Week 1 matchup against Charleston Southern during episode 330. We're going to give our 3 keys to the game as well as our predictions. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the tailgate for a second because it is football season officially, which means it is officially tailgating season. And we are continuing the all-time epic Lot 2 tailgates once again this season. We are not slowing down at all. So join us in Lot 2. We will be out there when the sun is up.
Yep.
So officially starting at 8 a.m. through about 5:45 p.m. will be the teardown time, but I'm sure I'll be going into the stadium a little bit later than that. We are going to have beer/booze, hot dogs, Miller burgers, non-alcoholic beverages, music, college game day on the TV. It's going to be a hell of a time out there, and I can't wait to see everybody out there. We had a great crew last year, and I can't wait to see it grow this year.
Yeah, and for those who have never been to a Lot 2 tailgate and are excited to experience it, I will state, it is the premier Vanderbilt football tailgate. Nobody does it like Lot 2. If you're doubting us, just ask anybody who's ever been to a Lot 2 tailgate, and they will tell you Lot 2 knows how to throw a tailgate.
And we will once again have DJ Keys coming out. He will be DJing. I'm assuming he's not going to be there at 8 a.m. He'll probably be there more around noon. But we will be focusing on college game day at the beginning with some light Lot 2 tailgate mix in the background before DJ Keys gets there. But shout out to him.
At 11 o'clock, we'll be tuned in to the Tennessee-Syracuse game.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we have multiple TVs, multiple quad boxes, but that'll be the game I'm most interested in.
I don't know if we're going to have quad boxes this year.
Ooh, YouTube TV?
We're not doing YouTube TV this year. It's Hulu Live TV this year. YouTube TV is still dealing with that Fox Sports issue.
That is true.
That has not been resolved.
That is, yeah, so they wouldn't have the Fox games.
Yeah.
Happens every year. Last year was ESPN, right?
Yeah, something was going
Yeah,
on with that.
just-
But I'm a Hulu Live TV guy. I've had it for a long time. Never had any issues. So that's what we'll probably be using on the tailgates. But ESPN allows you to do the quad box within the ESPN app. So we might be doing that. It just depends. We'll get it figured out.
Hell yeah. We'll see the vibes.
Come one, come all, open to the public. Get asked that a lot if it's open to everybody. There's no ticket. There's no anything like that. I will have my Venmo up to help reimburse for food if you so desire, but that's certainly not required or anything like that. So
Yeah.
we want to see everybody out there in Lot 2. I just wanted to get that out during the intro.
Yeah, absolutely. People always ask us too. They're like, "Do you need to bring anything?" And we will have plenty of booze. But if you want a BYOB as well, we will drink that up too.
Yeah, and if anybody just happens to have extra coolers, that seems to always be the main issue. I'm planning on getting another extra cooler this year, but we always seem to run out of cooler space. So coolers are also welcome. Coolers and ice. But we have the Charleston Southern preview to get to on episode 330, an actual preview of an actual football game. We've made it. Baby.
We've made it. Our
baby.
long national nightmare is
It's
over.
I know week 0 is the official start of college football season, but the real start of college football season is week 1.
The real college football season starts whenever the Vanderbilt Commodores kick
That's-
off. So whether it's week 0 or week 1, that's whenever it starts. So this year it's week 1.
Week 0 is always the ultimate tease because you're so excited for it. And then it just doesn't have that rush of all those games kicking off at once and just constant football. Because you had, 6 FBS games during week 0. So it was fantastic. Some good games. But overall, I'm ready for the real season to get started. But we have a locked and loaded episode 330 here. Before we get into segment 1, we are now a part of the On 3 Publisher Network. Visit thedoreport.com today and subscribe to a monthly or annual subscription and support TDR for access to premium content and our premium message board behind closed doors. Please subscribe today. The deal is still going on for $1 to join today for an annual membership for the first 7 days. And you also get a free annual subscription to The Athletic. That is a hell of a deal, as we have emphasized repeatedly. So subscribe today to thedoreport.com. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Door Report. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And while you're at it, give our podcast 5 stars and a review on iTunes, and subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's now time for segment 1.
Practice number 5. How are we feeling so far?
Feeling great.
Feeling great. Feeling great.
that I'm here with
Oh, feeling great. We're here with you.
Hacksquat,
Oh, we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Welcome back into episode 330 of The Door Report, and welcome into segment 1. It is time to dive into it. We're not going to dilly-dally around. Vanderbilt has their first matchup of the 2025 college football season this Saturday, 6 p.m., First Bank Stadium. Not technically televised, but streaming on ESPN Plus / SEC Network Plus on the radio on 102.5 The Game. Going to be an incredible Saturday. The weather forecast looking ideal. Highs in the low 80s. No rain in the forecast. Slightly cloudy. It's looking like it's going to be mid to low 70s at kick. You could not dream up a more perfect weather forecast. And we've been looking at the weather forecast for like the past way too long, like 3 weeks. And it's been showing good weather for a long time. We kept waiting for it to change.
Yep.
And the good weather seems to be sliding into Saturday, and we cannot wait.
So good.
But diving in to Charleston Southern, we already talked about the tailgate. Come one, come all. We want to have a hell of a time out there. And we've set our tailgate czar, Miller McKee. We've let the dog off the leash, brother. He is not going to disappoint.
We truly have given the keys to the inmate.
Dude.
Miller has just, we were talking about this during our break. If Miller was homeless, had no source of income, but could still throw tailgates, he'd be happy as a clam. That man does not want money. He does not want women. He does not want fame. He just wants to tailgate.
And as we have said, a majority of the reason that obviously the access to riders and different opportunities it gives, but a majority of the reason we initially signed with Rivals and then continued during the On3 transition is the money from this. It's not full-time money that we make by any stretch, but it's going to allow us to do so much more with the tailgates and engagement with listeners of the pod. So it's going to be an incredible time in Lot 2. But getting to Charleston Southern. FCS program, the first FCS, or the only FCS program, of course, that Vanderbilt plays this year. I was looking, what conference is Charleston Southern?
OVC.
No, they're not. It's the Big South, I think, right?
Are they not the OVC?
I think they changed conferences.
Oh, did they change this offseason?
Yes, I believe so. They're in the Big South Conference.
Big South. Ooh.
Are members of the OVC-Big South Football Association. I'm not really sure what that means.
I'm wondering if, like other smaller conferences, they combine during the football season to make one conference and then split during basketball
That could
season.
be it, because I know Tennessee Tech is moving conferences. Like
Yeah.
OVC is like falling apart, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Charleston Southern, coached by, and we're going to mispronounce this. There's 2 pronunciations we could go with, so I'm going to start out with both. Gabe Giardini or Gardini. Giardina. We're just going to call him the Big Dina.
Big Dina.
Giardina, entering year 3 as the head coach of Charleston Southern. Last year, not a successful season for the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. They went 1-11, 0-8 in the Big South or OVC, as I'm going to screw that up, but whatever. The last time that Charleston Southern had a winning season was 2017. They went 6-5. And the last time Vanderbilt faced Charleston Southern, if any fans remember that out there, was not a fun trip on the gridiron for the Derek Mason-led Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt snuck by Charleston Southern in 2014 with a 21-20 victory. At the time, maintaining Vanderbilt's undefeated record against FCS opponents, which, as we all know, ended in Clark Lee's first career game.
Why'd you
as
have
the
to
head
do
coach of
that?
the Vanderbilt Commodores. Had to mention
Why'd
that
you
early
have to do that?
because Vanderbilt fans are just so comfortable going into this game. I had to bring back up bad memories.
Hey, I will say though, shout out to the 2014 Blake Fromming led Doors for getting a big dub over Charleston Southern.
Big time dub. Big time dub, baby.
Only second to the UMass game earlier that year to where they kicked the game-winning field goal and carried Derek Mason off the field.
Oh, don't remind me of that one.
Started it.
We were
You
talking.
started
We were
it.
talking about that 2014 season beforehand, and Trevor was talking about sweating his balls off during the Charleston Southern 21-20 victory in 2014.
Yeah.
All I remember from that entire season basically is Vanderbilt losing to Troy to start out the season. I think my mind Temple. Good God, I even blocked that out. But literally the entire rest of the season, I just have blacked out, just shoved into a box and threw away the keys inside my brain. I just blocked that one out of my system.
Yeah.
But Charleston Southern, we're not going to dig as deeply into this opponent as we normally do and will do the rest of the season. You guys know us. You guys know how much we dig into Vanderbilt's opponents and we break down the rosters. We're going to do a little bit of that, but it's a bit, I don't want to say it like this, it's a bit of a wasted time with Charleston Southern, but I'm still going to dive into it a little.
There's also just a lack of information. And so whenever I was doing my preview, obviously you have basic stats for where they fell in FCS competition. But in terms of like, I'm a big advanced analytic guy. I love EPA, yards per air. I love all that stuff. They don't have any of that. So you just have the very basic, how much they rushed for, how much they threw for, how many touchdowns they scored. So that information is out there, and as Will stated, we will get into that. To put it bluntly, to give you a little teaser, they were bad on offense last year.
Yeah, that was the issue with this Charleston Southern team. I'm going to pull up the schedule here just so I actually have the real numbers in front of me. But going through their schedule, they were 1-11. They had a lot of close losses. So it wasn't a 1-11. They did get blown out in some games, but there were a lot of games. Like they lost to TSU 13-9. They lost to the Citadel 22-21. They lost to Tennessee Tech 28-23. They lost to number 8 SEMO 26-13. They weren't getting blown off the field by a lot of these teams. Now, their one D1 opponent, or FBS, not D1. Their one FBS opponent from last year was Florida State. We know how Florida State season went, and they lost to Florida State 41-7.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were not a good team. They did make a change on the offensive coordinator position. That was the issue with this team. They frankly just could not score points. They were atrocious on third down. They were just atrocious on offense the entirety of last season.
Last season, they averaged just a little over 14 points a game in FCS competition.
So they brought in offensive coordinator Seth Strickland from Division II, the Anderson Trojans. I actually, in my insane autism, went and found an Anderson Trojans game on YouTube and watched Seth Strickland's offense for about 6 or 7 drives. They've been very quiet about what they're going to do. I'm not saying this is even remotely applicable, but kind of how Vanderbilt was with their offense last year going into Virginia Tech, very quiet, like they're just not going to say anything, very closed about what they're doing on offense. But I watched Seth Strickland's offense with the Anderson Trojans. It's one of those offenses where it's not a hurry up, but they don't huddle in between, at least when he was at Anderson. They run up to the line of scrimmage, and then they all stand up and get the play call from the sideline, preventing the defense from substituting. A lot of shotgun, a lot of pistol, very similar in some capacities to Vanderbilt's offense with a lot of kind of jet sweep motion type stuff, things of that nature, but a lot less tight end utilization. Think of Vanderbilt's offense, but more of a spread type of Vanderbilt's offense. That's the best summation I can make.
Yeah, it's a pretty typical RPO option offense. I will say Sean Strickland came from
Seth. You did it, not me. You said Sean Strickland. I said it was going to be me. I said it was going to be me.
I'm thinking of the UFC fighter Seth Strickland. Before at Anderson, was on the coaching staff at South Carolina under the Will Muschamp led Gamecocks. So he was there during the Deebo Samuel era. My mind is a little bit hazy. I don't believe those Will Muschamp teams ran an option offense. And so I don't think he's carrying much of whoever the OC was at that time, much of that philosophy over to Anderson and now over to Charleston Southern. But does have some FBS and SEC experience. I believe he was there during the Debo Samuels era. And the one tight end they had, Hunter. You know who I'm talking about. Very good tight end, Hunter. I think he went and played for the Baltimore Ravens. I think he was drafted by the Ravens.
Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst. Why am I
Okay,
I'm thinking
that's
of
what
Hunter
threw me
Hurst
off.
Helmsley, Triple H, the wrestler. Hayden Hurst. Hayden
You got
Hurst was,
fighters on the brain.
I do, yeah. Hayden Hurst. I believe he was drafted by the Ravens.
I've got to look at. Was drafted by the Ravens in the 2018 NFL Draft. You were correct. Before playing on the Falcons, now currently, well, he was on the Chargers last year. I don't even know if he's in the NFL anymore. Was there something else you were going to say there?
No, I just wanted to highlight his experience in South Carolina.
So it is going to be a different offense. So you can't really ascertain anything from watching Charleston Southern last year. That's why I wanted to get that out there. So I had to dig into a little more of the Anderson Trojans than I ever anticipated I would in my entire life. And you will not hear me complain about Vanderbilt's football broadcasts ever again after watching that broadcast, because my God, the amount of times that commentator referred to it as us, we was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to me.
Probably with some undergrad student
No,
who
it was a grown man.
Oh,
100%.
fascinating.
Yeah, it sounded like a dude in his 40s.
Yeah, maybe he was a parent of one of the players, and that's all they could find.
But I will
to
say
broadcast
their
the Anderson
offense,
Trojans.
The Anderson Trojans offense was humming in the game that I watched.
Yeah.
But granted, it's D2, so you're not going to. I don't even know who their opponent was. But I just wanted to get a feel for what Seth Strickland's offense looked like. It's nothing that you haven't seen before. It's not like the wing tee or the triple option. It's getting guys in space, quick RPO, quick bubble stuff, kind of read option type things. I don't know if their quarterback is really that much of a runner. Moving on to the roster, getting to the quarterback, sophomore quarterback Zoltan Osborne has been named the starter for the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. Last year only appeared, I believe, in one game, was 10 for 19. I think he had 2 interceptions. I wrote down 2 touchdowns, but I'm pretty sure he had 2 picks. Yes.
Yeah.
Zoltan Osborne was 10 of 19 for 81 yards and 2 interceptions and was sacked 3 times before being injured. He's their starting quarterback this year.
Hell of a stat line.
Yep. The Big Deanie, the head coach of Charleston Southern, is very high on Zoltan and said he's the key to the offense and making that car run. That was not an exact quote. That's just basically kind of what he said. Last year, their leading rusher was Octavius Ison. What a hell of a name.
Dude, these names, Zoltan and Octavius.
Dude, they're just Octavius.
Octavius, even better.
Ison. He was their leading rusher last year, ran the ball 172 times for 790 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is gone. He is transferred to Mercer. They do return their second leading rusher from last year, Tyson Greenwade. Tyson Greenwade ran the ball 101 times for 467 yards and 3 touchdowns last season, but he is not the starter this year. The starter has been announced as freshman Brandon Mush for RB1. However, there will be a heavy rotation of running backs utilized by Charleston Southern, but they are starting a freshman at running back, so that's very interesting. Their best receiver last year, even though he wasn't the most yardage, he had the most receptions last year, was Noah Jennings. He is transferred to Cincinnati. So he is gone. Noah Jennings last year, 46 catches, 475 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their leading receiver in yardage was Chris Rohn. He is back for them. 34 catches, 586 yards, and 4 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, Charleston Southern returns another incredible name, Steve Zayakowski.
Hell yeah,
their
dude.
leading tackler from last season.
That's a 1980s football player if I've ever heard of one.
Had 78 total tackles last season, the only player on the team with over 70 total tackles. They did lose Davion Williams, probably based on the limited research that I was able to find/do. Davion Williams, their best defensive player, a defensive back, transferred to Eastern Michigan, was second on the team in tackles, the only other player over 60 total tackles on the season. He was also second on the team in sacks as well. Their leader in sacks, Darius Bell, who I believe had 6 sacks on the season last year. They lost him to graduation. They also lost their second best defensive lineman, their second leader in sacks, Joshua Hill. To dig into their kicking game and special team situation, to put it frankly, their kicker is awful. And he's back this year. He was 6 of 12 on field goals last season. I think he missed 3 extra points as well. He's back. returning. They also had another kicker that kicked. He was 0 for 2 on field goals. Kicking game, not a strength for Charleston Southern. But as it always goes, kickers against Vanderbilt, they're basically automatic. They're basically prime Justin Tucker. That's about all I have written down for Charleston Southern as a whole preview. Very bad on offense last year. Very average, I would say, on defense last year. New offensive coordinator. Basically a new starting quarterback. New running back. One returning receiver. Returning linebacker. A lot of new faces on the defensive line. A lot of turnover from not a good team, and not turnover really in the way that you want to see. Not turnover that you kicked a lot of guys to the curb and revamped the roster like Vanderbilt did after the 2023 season. They just lost most of their good players to better programs and had to fill in gaps throughout the team.
And two, I did a little bit of research. I wanted to look into like their blue chip ratio and the blue chip prospects they have, just because with the way that the transfer portal works now, not typically do higher level 3 stars, 4 stars that don't make it at the FBS level travel all the way down to the FCS level. But sometimes you can get a lot of those high 3-star, low 4-star guys sort of make their way there. So I wanted to do a little bit of digging and found that Charleston Southern had a blue chip ratio of 0%. What that means is obviously no 5 stars, obviously no 4 stars on their team. The couple of 3 stars that they do have, according to On3's composite, were very, very low in 3 stars, really just 2 stars. They got a gracious bump due to high school or stats they had at a previous institution. So just in terms of the talent disparity, it's night and day different. And I wanted to highlight that because last year, don't want to bring up bad memories again, the Georgia State game. Vanderbilt obviously was more talented than Georgia State, but if you looked at Georgia State's blue chip ratio, it wasn't a 0%. Georgia State has some former 4 stars on their team and some dogs specifically on defense. Charleston Southern has none of that.
Yeah, keep in mind Georgia State is an FBS program.
I think
that's
also
a big difference.
True, yes.
Remember, Vanderbilt's FCS opponent last season was Alcorn State. Vanderbilt won that game 55-3. And just to reiterate, just like we did in the full schedule preview we had last episode with Blake Fromang, Alcorn State, who we all said was horrible, that was a terrible FCS team. They went 6-6 last year and had a winning record in their conference. Charleston Southern is worse by a large margin than Alcorn State.
And to go to, once again, not to bring up bad FCS memories, but whenever Vanderbilt played ETSU, ETSU had a higher blue chip rating than almost every other FCS program. They had a lot of guys who couldn't make it or sort of got buried in the depth chart, transferred down to a lower level. And
ETSU ended up being a top 20 FCS program that year, which is still no excuse. That's still not an excuse. But ETSU was a damn good program when they beat Vanderbilt, and they had a damn good team.
And just to give a little bit more insight, this will be the last thing I say. ETSU still has a pretty high blue chip rating. Do you know who their starting quarterback is this year? Cade McNamara. You remember that guy?
Yes, I do.
Cade McNamara is ETSU's starting quarterback this year.
One of my buddies was a walk-on at ETSU, and actually DJ Keys also played football at ETSU. So we have some ETSU. We respect ETSU here, even though I hate them because they beat Vanderbilt.
So, yeah, like even ETSU has a former 4-star, power 4 starter at their quarterback position.
But that's about it for Charleston Southern. We will dig in way deeper into the rest of Vanderbilt's opponents. I feel like that was a decently deep dive for Vanderbilt's FCS opponent.
I feel like that was a better deep dive than we had for Alcorn State last year.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. But we are going to get now to our 3 keys to the game. I have 4 written down here just in case Trevor takes some of mine, which I'm sure he will, and I can come up with some off the top of my head if I need to. Then me and Trevor are going to give our score predictions. And then tomorrow/Thursday, we're going to have TDR's full staff score predictions for the game posted on thedoorreport.com. So, Trevor, I'll let you go first here. What's your number 1 key to the game?
Yeah, once again, first game of the season against a not good team whatsoever. So I feel like mine are going to be pretty bland. But my first key is that Vanderbilt's going to have to get the run game established. They're really not just to control the ground game or control the time of possession, because I don't think that Vanderbilt's going to struggle with that. Really getting the ground game going, and so that Diego Pavia does not have to run and take unnecessary hits against a team that he really has no business running on, and that Vanderbilt's running back core should be able to run up and down the field on. If Diego Pavia is having to take a lot of these options and having to do a lot of quarterback runs and take unnecessary hits this early in the season against this opponent, I think that's a huge red flag. So I'm going to say getting the running game going for my key number 1.
I'm going to go with a way more basic one than that. And it's going to be boring. And I don't care because it is my number 1 key to the game. Because I'm not concerned about Vanderbilt winning this game. They're going to win this game. I will eat Phoebe's entire litter box if they lose to Charleston Southern. And I will do it. I'm not going to be the Florida State shit-eating guy. I will do it, and I will throw up on camera. Unfortunately, I am a man of my word. They're not losing to Charleston Southern. So my number 1 key to the game, emphasis, underline, number 1, not even close, stay healthy. No injuries. That's it. I could make that 1, 2, and 3 if I wanted to. Just no injuries. Vanderbilt has a gauntlet ahead of them in the next 11 games, and especially in the back half of the schedule. Stay healthy. A lot of that means getting a lead early and not seeing a lot of starters playing in the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter. So stay healthy. There's always going to be nicks and bruises and whatever, but there are specific positions that Vanderbilt just cannot afford to have injuries. So stay freaking healthy. That's simple. That's my number 1.
Yeah. That wasn't even in my top 3, but I think that's easily the most important key to the game. My key number 2, once again, pretty basic. The defensive line should get pressure against a much more inferior offensive line. I think if Vanderbilt is not able to get pressure with their front 4, I think that's a huge, capital HUGE, huge red flag for Vanderbilt moving forward. I think that Vanderbilt should be able to get pressure easily. I think that's the key to the game, getting pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run game with those front 4 guys, and really letting the back half of the defense just sort of do their thing.
I'll go on the other side of the ball. And I'm going to start this out by reading a great post on the Behind Closed Doors message board by our own Blake Fromang, who joined us on episode 329. Blake Fromang posted, Charleston Southern has a small defensive line, at least compared to the SEC. They only have 1 player over 300 pounds, and he didn't play last season. Their tallest guy is 6'4", and he didn't play much last season either. Here's what our offensive line looks like size-wise. Strong tackle Bryce Henderson, 6'8", 325. Strong guard Chase Mitchell, 6'4", 340. Center Jordan White, 6'2", 309. Quick guard Cade McConnell, 6'5", 323. Quick tackle Isaiah Glass, 6'4", 311. Average height, 6'4.5". Average weight, 321.6 pounds. All this to say, if we can establish the run, if we can't establish the run, there should be alarm bells going off. Run the damn ball. That's my key number 2. Dominate the line of scrimmage. You already talked about the defensive side of things. That's part of this as well, but I'm focusing on the offense. The offensive line should just maul these guys. If the offensive line is what we expect them to be, which is just as good / better than last season, I expect them to be better than they were last year. If they are going to be better, then they should obliterate this Charleston Southern defensive line. Plain and simple.
I hope the mics pick that up.
If the mics pick that up, Phoebe just let out a ferocious meow. Very curious why we are not paying attention to her right now.
Well, I think she's agreeing that the offensive line should maul them. Is that what you're saying, Phoebe?
Yeah, that's what Phoebe was saying. She said, yes, the offensive line should maul this defensive line. And that's actually going to lead into my third key takeaway partially, but I'll save that.
Do you want to go ahead and go into your third since you have it?
No, I'll let you go into it. I'll build up the suspense a little bit for the people.
Okay, and so I don't know if this is a key because it's not a key to victory. It's not a key to the game, but it is an aspect that I would like to see. And I think this sort of plays into what I said in my first point in running the ball. I think that Vanderbilt, in terms of their offensive philosophy, should be very vanilla. Should be very, very vanilla in this game. There is no need to put anything on tape. I think you could run 10 base plays on offense and be able to move up and down the field on these guys. So I think that Vanderbilt should keep it very vanilla, very basic. Don't put anything on tape and just out-athlete them. You can play basic football and out-athlete these guys.
That was actually one of my rotational honorable mentions in case we collided on these 3 keys to the game. It was actually titled KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah. There's no point on putting anything out there on tape right now, especially since you already have quite a bit on tape from last season. No need to put any more on tape this year. So don't expect a lot of utilization of like Trey Richardson in weird packages
No,
or Martell Hyde in weird schemes. Like that's what I'm saying is if they
yes.
don't do that, don't be like, why didn't we see any Martell Hyde utilization?
No,
It's like you
thank
don't want to
you.
do that this
Thank
game.
you. Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't put Martell White on
No.
offense or Martell
White.
Hyde on offense at all this game. I wouldn't do it one bit.
But my third key, and this kind of relates to O-line, but we have hit on it the entire build up to this season. Vanderbilt's longest rush by a running back last year was 31 yards. And the longest rush in general was by Nate Johnson against Alcorn State for 56 yards on a touchdown rush. I want to see at least one 40-plus yard rush from a running back this game. This isn't really a key to victory. This is more just what I want to see.
Mhm.
I don't care if it's Seti. I don't care if it's AJ Newberry. I don't care if it's MK Young. Hell, I don't care if it's Gabe Fields. I don't care if it's Chase Gillespie. I want to see a 40-plus yard rush out of a running back. That would be a boost on what they did last year. So that's my third key. That's going to take blocking on the outside. That's going to take a running back breaking a tackle or making a move. And that's what I want to see. I want to see dynamic playmaking ability out of the backfield because that's what's going to make or break this Vanderbilt offense taking a big step forward this year. It's not going to be Diego Pavia playing above his head. It's not going to be the receivers taking a step forward, which I think they possibly can. The offensive line, of course, is going to have to do their job, but the running backs creating explosive plays, that's going to be what moves this Vanderbilt offense forward. That's what I want to see against Charleston Southern. This is the opponent to do it. 40-plus yard rush. That's something I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're ready for predictions, Trevor.
Well, is that the first time we've ever not had the same three keys?
That was pretty crazy that we didn't have any.
I think every single game last year, I think I took one of your three keys or you took one of my three keys. I think every single week.
Yeah, this is the first time there's no crossover there. I'm kind of shocked.
I'm shocked as well.
Especially with how basic they all were.
I was going to say,
none of them crossed over. Let's get to predictions. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I think the Vanderbilt should easily win this game. I don't think it should be close whatsoever. I wrote this in my preview for the Charleston Southern game. I think if Vanderbilt plays a C game, even like a C- game, I think it should be a blowout. I truly think Vanderbilt could walk out there with piss running down their leg and put up a 50 burger on this team. So with that being said, I texted in the group chat my official prediction earlier. I want to change that. I'm going to make this my official prediction, and we can post that to the board. I'm going to go Vanderbilt 52, Charleston Southern 3.
Okay. Not too far off from what I had. I've said this multiple times in past episodes. There isn't really anything in this game that's going to be a green flag for me or make me go, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to see. There's only really negatives I can take away from this game. If Vanderbilt doesn't go out there and dominate, if I don't see those things that we talked about in our three keys to the game, Vanderbilt is better by a large margin than Charleston Southern. Kind of what we talked about multiple times in past years and years of doing this is when Vanderbilt's playing Georgia or I'm going to say them, even though Vanderbilt beat them last year, Bama. It's like you go player for player, and the gap is just so significant. That's it. It's crazy. Vanderbilt at their base worst, like that 2020 year against, or 2019 against Georgia, whenever that was. 2020. Vanderbilt's gap over Charleston Southern is more than Vanderbilt and Georgia in those prime years and bottom years for Vanderbilt. Now, I did have initially, before I dug into the team, I did have Charleston Southern scoring 3 until I dug into how bad their kicker was. They might try to get points on the board and they might kick a field goal and I might be proven wrong. I have the final score is Vanderbilt 45, Charleston Southern 7. I did watch the Anderson Trojans game. Seth Strickland has no problem taking shots down the field. And his quarterback at Anderson was awful. He was awful. And he still took shots. So expect this Charleston Southern team to take shots downfield off the rip. I think not really knowing what's on film for Charleston Southern, at one point, whether it's early or it's late, at some point, I think Charleston Southern will be able to break through for a touchdown. And I think the only reason I don't have Vanderbilt going over 50 is I think Vanderbilt's going to do what Vanderbilt does, control the clock, limit the number of plays. They're going to basically use this as a scrimmage kind of practice for what they're going to do the rest of the season. So I don't think they're going to – now they did beat Alcorn State 55-3 last year. So there's the chance you're right. I don't know if I see them getting over 50 because they're going to be even more vanilla than they were against Alcorn State last year because this is week 1. So Vanderbilt's not going to want to show anything. Charleston Southern has shown nothing. So Vanderbilt's going to go in blind. But I have the final score of Vanderbilt 45, Charleston Southern 7, which actually has Vanderbilt covering the 36.5-point spread and actually going over. I think the over-under is at 48.5. So Vegas kind of expects this game to be a 45-3 type game. You have it at 52-3. I have it 45-7, which I actually looked at a bunch of predictions after I wrote down my prediction. I think that's the exact prediction Aria Gerson of the Tennessean gave as well, was 45-7.
45-7?
Yeah, I think me and Aria are just on the same brain wavelength. Me and her, we just think exactly alike, baby.
So does that mean we're going to start taking baseball questions again
No.
during the football season?
No, we will take baseball questions possibly during football season. We're just not taking them in late August and September. Like maybe if we get to November, December, and there's actual news on the baseball front, which there's probably not going to be.
Well, and here's the thing too. I'll once again, nope. Will doesn't need anybody to defend him, but I will come to my homie's honor, guys. This is maybe the biggest, most hyped Vanderbilt football season we have experienced, definitely in my lifetime. It is week 1. I'm sorry, unless this season goes terribly down the drain. I love baseball. I'm not talking baseball. I don't care if the reports out of the Omaha Challenge say that in December that Vanderbilt's really humming. If Vanderbilt's going to a bowl game, we're talking Vandy football and we're talking Vandy basketball. We will talk baseball late January.
We talk plenty of baseball. We cover baseball as much or more than anyone else. We talk a lot of baseball. When baseball's on the horizon and there's news, we were the only people really consistently putting out Cape Cod Baseball League information. Our boy George Barclay did an incredible job covering that over the summer. Sensational job. We cover baseball. We're just not going to talk about it on the podcast not going to talk about it on the podcast leading up to football season. Sorry.
If it ain't about Vandy football, then we ain't talking about it.
It's all we talk about in this house anyway.
Yeah.
But we have, after the TDR cocktail break, which we are about to go to, we have a ton of premium message board questions to answer, some on topic about the game, some off topic. So everybody out there, grab yourself a delicious ice cold beverage, and we will be right back after the TDR cocktail break. Welcome back from the TDR cocktail break, and welcome back into episode 330. We've already given our predictions, our 3 keys to the game against Charleston Southern, and given a rundown about Charleston Southern, and given the tailgate info in Lot 2, just replugging that. Come meet us in Lot 2. Everybody out there listening, we would love to see you out there. It's going to be a great time. I just want to keep saying that. It is the thing in my life. I love very few things. I've recently found a love for running. I really love running. I love playing golf. I love watching sports in general. I love Vanderbilt, and I love going to Lot 2. There is some magic in those TDR Lot 2 tailgates that you can feel. It's all ages. You have from freaking 16-year-old high schoolers out there to 78, 80-year-old men. Just having a great time, all watching football, talking Vanderbilt. It's fantastic. I love what has become the Lot 2 tailgate.
And I think it's so special, too. And I don't want to get sentimental here, but like growing up, I was the only other Vanderbilt fan I knew was my dad. So the only other person I could talk Vandy ball with was my dad. All my other friends cheered for other SEC schools. So And lot two, like actually getting to meet people from Twitter, people from the internet, people who listen to the pod, and legitimately like developing like I am real friends with Joe West, and we were known each other on Twitter forever. I'm like real friends with Brett DeLawyer on Twitter.
The McNultys.
The McNultys, like all these guys that I've known on Twitter for years, like we've been able to meet and actually be like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. And not only do I like your Twitter persona, I like you as a person. And so it's just,
dude,
lot two is a very, very special time. And I love getting to meet everybody. Please come up to us, say hi, interrupt us, drink a beer with us. We love it.
If there is one person, and this is not a shot at anyone else, if there's one person I'm excited to see again, it's Mark McNulty.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him and Miles. I didn't get to see Miles at all during basketball. I'm excited to see Mark and Miles.
If you have ever listened to Talking with TDR, Mark McNulty is the one that refers to himself as our ray of sunshine. One of the greatest men alive.
Yeah,
I will say that. Let's get to the premium message board questions. We have quite a few. I've not read these, as I never do beforehand, so no telling where this is going to take us. Yet another door lawyer is first on the docket. Let's just say, hypothetically, we do what we should be able to do this game, and it's over by halftime. Do any of the starters see the field in the second half?
I think they see. So if I'm Clark Lee, and let's say Vanderbilt's up by 24-28, I let Pavi and the starters go out there. I let them get a first down, and I pull them.
Yeah, when you say over, there are different types of over. So if it's like a 21-point game, which is so my prediction is because of how Vanderbilt plays. Like I think this game could very easily be 24-7 going into half with Vanderbilt firmly in control. I think the starters maybe play the first half of the third quarter, get up 31-7, 34-7, whatever it is, and then you pull them. So if Vanderbilt has like gone up 38-0 at halftime, then basically everybody's going to be pulled. And there's a few guys that you want to see snaps from because there are a lot of guys that are heavy rotational guys, especially on defense, that you will still see out there. But no, if it's fully over, then no. There is no reason to risk injury. They know what they have. They have voice crack. They have a lot of experience coming back. This is if this was last year, very different answer. I would have said, no, the reps are a lot more valuable.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but you want to see a few more.
Well, you saw it in the Alcorn State game. Like they came out in the third quarter and the game was over and Diego Pavia played till the fourth, I believe.
Yeah, but this year, if they're up 28 plus points at halftime, you're not going to see a starter out there, or at least a key starter out there in the second half.
I agree.
Next one from Pepperdor says, I don't know what this means. I'm afraid I'm going to say a slur or something. What sort of Derecho, Haboob, or other niche weather event should we expect to mess up with the start of this game?
Are those even words?
I don't know what that means. Feels that's why I was afraid to say them.
You're like, I don't know if I'm about to say a slur.
Feels like every other year some sort of freak calamity visits our opener. Please tell me forecast so far looks uneventful. It looks fantastic. The forecast looks eventful in that it looks like it's going to feel like sex outside. Yeah, it's going to feel sexual outside.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm hoping nothing changes. We will keep the board updated with that, but right now it looks sexy.
Shout out to Otter on Twitter, who is a Vanderbilt fan and a Vanderbilt graduate student. He has a new Twitter account called VandyWX, and he's going to create a graphic and release a graphic every Friday detailing the weather and the weather pattern for game day. So make sure to follow him. I'll retweet him on Friday when he drops a graphic.
Oh yeah, but the weather's looking fantastic.
Yeah, the weather looks great.
JDL Cav says, who has the best hair? Diego Pavia, Trevor Hulan, or Clark Lee?
It's easily Diego Pavia because he's got I don't have a crispy hairline at all. My hairline's a little bit cooked, so I'm going to go Diego.
What is it's a quote from The Office, but it's Kevin talking to Oscar, and he says, you have that beautiful Chicano hair. And that's Diego Pavia. He's got that perfect hairline.
Like, if I shaved my head into a buzz cut, dude, I'd look disgusting.
You would look, dude.
I would look
my God. No, you would look great.
Dude,
you would look great.
No, you're saying that I would look terrible. I would look awful.
You would look like a guy that would beat up anyone that steps foot in lot 2, dude. You would look insane.
I would look insane in the worst
Oh my
way
God.
possible.
You gonna visit Turkey for the hair transplant? Next question. World's Strongest Vandy fan says, what's the lot 2 spread looking like, boys? We already touched on that a little bit. We got the classics.
Yeah.
We're rolling out the classics week 1.
Rolling out the hits.
Miller burgers, hot dogs, chips, random little cookies or desserts, water, diet sodas, and booze. Just the classics.
Yep.
We're running the damn ball.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Yeah.
We'll get a little more adventurous as the season goes on, but we're running the damn ball week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Magoo says, Game 1 is made for overreactions. What do you think the most likely overreaction topics will be coming out of this game?
I got one for you. I think that people will see Whit Edwards and what he does against Charleston Southern, and people will be like, Whit Edwards should be a starter.
I can see that a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I will generally just say that I'm expecting Vanderbilt to dominate this game, and this could look very foolish, but I don't think it will. I think that it's going to be positive overreaction. I think the offensive line is going to look dominant. I think the defensive line is going to be dominant, and I'm going to have to be like, all right, that's great.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen is great, but I've said repeatedly, there's nothing that's good that's going to happen that's going to make me change my perspective on this team. It's only bad that can make me change my perspective. So I think it will be positive overreaction just in general. J-Rob1742 says, what are the Game 1 fits looking like?
Ooh, I'm so glad you asked, dude. Like we're playing the hits for the tailgate food. I'm playing the hits for the game day fits. Black, double XL Charlie Clark jersey. Black, 5-inch inseam shorts. White, Air Jordan 85s, neutral grays. On the dome, we're gonna have a vintage white Vanderbilt hat, black bill.
It's incredible. I will be rocking a Roback game day polo.
Nice.
As well as some nice 5-inch, or actually, I think they might be 7-inch inseam. No, they're 5-inch inseam. 5-inch inseam shorts. No, I think they're 7. I can't remember. They're linen shorts. Classic white Nike Air Maxes with a little white Nike sock action, as well as a No Rivals Vanderbilt hat, which is potentially my new game day hat for the entire year until Vanderbilt loses.
Remember when at the Virginia Tech game last year, it was like 100 in hell outside, you wore jeans?
Yeah. I don't know why I did that.
He pulled up and I was like, well, that's a bad idea, dude.
I still don't know why I did that.
But it worked out. So you're like, I have to wear jeans.
I had to wear
the
the
rest of the year.
same fit the entirety of the year.
Hey,
White hat. Yeah. Got to do a fight Game 1. Hopefully no Charleston Southern fans in Section F this year.
Oh, God, could you imagine?
NBA Door says, give me the stat lines for our QBs and wide receivers for this game. Ooh, it's an interesting
That's
question.
a good question.
I don't expect huge stat lines, to be honest, but I think Pavia throws for 200 to 240-ish yards.
That's what I was going to say.
Something like that. A couple decent plays. I think Junior Sherrill has a couple plays. That's one of the storylines I'm most interested in watching is that second/third/fourth wide receiver production. Like, what do we see out of Trent Hudson?
What do we see out of Richie?
What do we see out of Richie? What do we see out of Trey Richardson? What do we see out of Tristan Brown? Guys deeper. What do we see about Joseph McVay? How much are these guys involved? So it's tough for me to peg down exactly there, but I think we see an Eli Stowers touchdown. I think we also see a Cole Spence touchdown. And I think we see it. So I think I'm going to predict 2 to 3 Diego Pavia passing touchdowns and around 200 to 240 yards passing for Diego Pavia.
Yeah, I'll go about 250 through the air for Diego. I'll also say I think Junior Sherrill, 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns.
Ooh.
I'll also say, is this a little bit of a hot take? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think we get a Blaze Berlowitz over 100 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Blaze Berlowitz, 100 yards.
I could
on the
see
ground,
that.
2 touchdowns.
I could see the overreaction as well being Vanderbilt's got something in this Berlowitz guy. That's actually to go back to that question. A World's Strongest Vandy fan actually responded to overreaction topics coming out. He said in response, our offense is going to be awful because we were boring and vanilla. I could also see that
as well.
Because they are going to be boring and vanilla. You're not going to see this full offense on display. Kodak Black and Gold. What score would it take for y'all to feel disappointed with Saturday, or any red flags besides the trenches?
If they don't cover, if they don't win by 36.5, I'll be really I'm not gonna bet it, but I think anything less than blowout is disappointing.
Yeah, the score, like final score, it's hard for me to say. It's more you're going to know based on feeling in the stadium. Like if Vanderbilt comes out and just dominates and ends up winning like 34-3, I'm not pressing any panic buttons. But if Vanderbilt comes out and gives up like 17, 21 points and ends up winning like 41-20, I'm going to be a little concerned.
I'm going to jump off the top of Section F if that happens.
So it's more going to be the feel of the game. And if Vanderbilt is controlling the game, dominating the game. But yeah, if you see Charleston Southern get into the 17 plus, 17's a little lower. I would say 20 plus points for Charleston Southern, and I'm pressing a panic button. Yeah, it's more defensively. Offense, I think the offense is going to score between 35 and 55 points, somewhere in there. It's just what the defense does within that. Blake responded to that and said anything less than a 21-point win is a red flag. So that's kind of what I said. Tyler CLD says, not a question, but I just want to say I don't want to see Diego Pavia play a single snap in the second half. That's where I'm at on this game. Kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But I could see him playing a couple drives in the third quarter. Vandy Jr. says, for once, I'm going to make y'all happy. I have no further questions. If they're not about baseball, I will happily answer them, Vandy Jr.
Yeah.
It's just, you've been asking about baseball. G-Barks24 says, with the finished construction, will the acoustics help create more of a home field advantage? Last season, you could really hear the student section and the Vandy sideline during home games on TV anytime Vandy scored or made a big play.
What a wonderful question. I would have to think yes, because it's going to keep the sound in more. I'm not an audio engineer, but I'm just, with it being totally closed in, you'd have to think it makes a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, I think it's going to be louder. Now, the issue with the lack of home field advantage is obviously opposing fans being in the stadium. So, yeah, this game, I think the closed in will help with the sound. We'll see. It's going to take Vanderbilt continuing to win to have less opposing fans in the stands and help with that. Lord Voldador says, not about game one, but I have to know. What is the hardest hit you have witnessed at Dudley/First Bank? He said Carey Spear to Cordero Patterson and Markel Wade, Arkansas to Jonathan Krause comes to mind. I was going to say the Krause hit. That's the hardest one I've ever seen.
That one, yeah. The Carey Spear on Cordero Patterson was up there. I'm trying to.
That's my favorite hit I've ever seen.
I tell you what, dude. I don't know if you remember this. In 2011, whenever that same Arkansas game, dude, Tim Fugger hit the hell out of that Arkansas quarterback. I forget what his name was, but dude, he smacked the hell out of him.
There was a play, I think it was at Vanderbilt Stadium. I don't remember what year. It was Darian Herring against Missouri, where he cleared a blocker, like demolished him, and then clotheslined the quarterback, and it was a hell of a highlight play. That was during the Derek Mason era. So that's another random throw-in that I'll add.
Another one, and this will be my last ad. It wasn't a hit like a tackle. The 2023 Vanderbilt versus Kentucky game, to where CJ Taylor came hauling ass to the quarterback and hit the hell out of Ray Davis. That was a thumper.
And then he asked, what is the best offensive play you've witnessed at Dudley/First Bank? He said J. Matt catch against Wake, and last year Junior Sherrill 4th down TD catch against Bama come to mind. So I was actually not at that Wake Forest game. That was like one of the few games I've missed in my entire life.
Yeah, I was at that game. That's up there. A sleepy one. I'll go the Chris Boyd bobble catch in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown, 2012 against Tennessee.
I'm gonna
go that.
I was gonna say that one. The Carey Spear fake field goal touchdown in the James Franklin era against Georgia.
Yeah,
that's up there. The Ralph Webb touchdown, I think in 2018,
where he ran into Todd Kelly.
Yep, and ran him over into the end zone. That was an incredible one. Also, an underrated sleeper one is the Kyle Shermer run stretch over the goal line against Kansas State.
Yeah.
That was also a hell of a touchdown. The stadium was the loudest outside of 2012 against Ole Miss I've ever heard that stadium.
One of my personal favorites is the Jordan Matthews end around pass, same game, 2012 against Tennessee, and he took it 60 yards for a touchdown. That was awesome.
Natty season coming says, not about the game, but about the season as a whole. I just turned 21 and got the $300 bonus bet on FanDuel. Do I throw it on Vandy winning 7 games in the regular season, win 960, or be bold and throw it on 8 wins for 2,100? Let me know, fellow gamblers. I would personally throw it on 7 because my prediction was 7 and 5.
I actually did respond to this on the board, and I said, don't be a coward. Put it on Vanderbilt to win the national title.
It's a lot of responses here. Unabridged says, how fucking ready are you for football?
Me and Will actually talked about this the other day, and that we're in a unique position in that, like, I've never experienced this personally until this season. So growing up as a Vanderbilt fan, especially when you were young, you looked at these players and you didn't know them personally, but you looked at them almost as if they were demigods. And you sort of idolize them in that aspect. And as you get older, like, you realize, like, oh, I'm the same age as these guys. And then in the position that we're in, like, you get to, like, actually interact with them and know them. And I think, honestly, that's one of the coolest experiences, is getting to know them as well as the coaching staff and being like, oh, wow, like, these guys, not just the fact that they play for my favorite team, like, but these guys are actually, like, good dudes who, if they didn't play for Vanderbilt, I would hang out with. And knowing that they're on the team, I think it makes it that much more special. And I also, too, think that, like, and I tweeted this, and I've, like, sort of joked about this in, like, group chats, but there's a part of me that is actually not joking about this whatsoever. And I think about it, and I think about, like, all the shitty football that I've had to watch all my life. And I think about all the shitty football my dad had to watch before me, and just how after every single bad loss and every single failure of a season, I thought, like, is it even worth being a Vanderbilt fan? Like, what is the point of my dad spending his money, of me eventually spending my money to go and, like, continuously watch terrible football and get my heart broken over terrible, awful football that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter and it's just pointless? And then we've got to this point in the season to where not in the season, but into the tenure and the history of Vanderbilt football, to where, like, you look at this team and you look at, like, the roster construction, you look at what Clark Lee has done, and you look at Diego Pavia and the guys that come back, and you think, like, you know what? Like, after all the shitty football I've had to watch my whole life, and thinking over and over and over, like, Vanderbilt's never, ever, ever going to amount to anything. Like, I look at this season and I'm like, you know what? Like, what if that after all of that time, like, this actually, like, all of the years of watching bad football, like, actually led to this, like, singular moment in time to where the stars align in favor of Vanderbilt football? Like, what if this isn't just some, like, good 7-5, 8-4 season? Like, what if Vanderbilt goes 9-3? Like, by God, what if they go 10-2? Like, what if Vanderbilt football is in the discussion? All those years of watching shitty football finally amassed into this, like, one beautiful season to where, like, Vanderbilt football does the damn thing. And you're like, you know what? Like, all of those shitty games and all those shitty years of watching football, like, are worth it right now because Vanderbilt is finally doing it. Like, what if, like, there was, like, a purpose and, like, a plan behind that, and stars finally aligned, and it's happened for Indiana, it's happened for Stanford, Northwestern's had good seasons. Like, what if, like, for the first time in the history of college football, in the history of the game of football, what if for the first time it's Vanderbilt's turn? And I'm trying not to get, like, overly emotional and, like, overly hyped about this Vanderbilt football season, but it's like, dude, pardon my French, but, like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to get hyped. I'm going to get excited about Vanderbilt football. Like, I look at this roster and I look at this coaching staff, and there's just a part of me, you're going to say, oh, you're a fan. Yes, I'm a fan. I love Vanderbilt athletics, but there's a part of me that's like, you know what?
I really think they're going to do it. Like, I really think this is going to be a special season. I really think all those years of watching bad football for Vanderbilt fans are like, I think they're finally going to be rewarded with a special season. I look at Diego Pavia, I look at Eli Stowers, I look at Clark Lee, I look at all these guys, and I'm like, you know what? Like, maybe this isn't just a fairy tale. Maybe this isn't just like me being an optimistic fan and like praying that like my hopes and dreams of Vanderbilt football finally come to realization. Like, maybe they actually amount to a championship level team this year. And like, that's a long-winded answer. I'm sorry, but to put it bluntly, I am fucking excited for Vanderbilt football. And I think that all the years of pain that Vanderbilt fans have endured have finally come together for this one singular moment in time that Vanderbilt fans can rejoice and be excited and have high expectations, experience championship level football.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Dude, I can't follow that up at all. I'm damn excited. I mean, this is the first time in a very long time that I'm legitimately excited about Vanderbilt football. Like, I'm fully on I'm tired of talking about it. Let's see it on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of seeing the comments from opposing fans. Let's see it on the field. And so I can't follow that up. So there's no point in me even trying.
It's hard because it's like, and we talk about like we've talked about it so many times. Dude, at our old apartment, how many conversations did we have to where we're like, do we even want to keep doing? Like, is it even worth getting upset and putting in our time and effort to talk about shitty football? And like, we would watch Vanderbilt go 2-10, and we would be like, maybe the James Franklin era of winning bowl games was just a flash in the pan. Maybe that wasn't actually something that could come to fruition. And we thought about hanging it up so many times, and now it's like, after last year and going into this season, you're like, shit, dude. Like, maybe it wasn't a flash in the pan.
Look, there are so many times, like when I was younger, that I would watch. I was a big sports fan. That's very obvious. I've been a big sports fan my entire life. So of course I was a big sports movie fan. And for a while, Disney had a run of just an incredible sequence of sports movies. And I always used to have the thought of like, there are no stories like that anymore. And that's obviously not true because you've seen some happen. But you want to talk about a team that is just ripe for storylines if they do have that successful season. You have Clark Lee, the former walk-on fullback, coming back, Broyles Award winner or award finalist, coming back to coach his home team, saying openly that he came in initially thinking he was going to be the savior of the program and then had to take a step back and say, maybe I need to learn some more. He comes back, he's stuck with it, he's the guy. You have Diego Pavia, started in JUCO at New Mexico Military Institute, just wanted to be recruited by the New Mexico Lobos. They didn't want him. So he had to go the JUCO route and go to New Mexico Military Institute, go to New Mexico State. Now he's here at Vanderbilt. You have Eli Stowers, who's just the most stand-up guy you've ever seen in your entire life. Going to be an early round NFL draft pick. You have a walk-on at receiver in Richie Hoskins, or former walk-on at Richie Hoskins. You have former walk-on and Nick Rinaldi, a linebacker. You just have a plethora of storylines of just underdog stories that people would just eat up if Vanderbilt was able to do it. If there was ever a movie storyline to be made in modern college football, it's this Vanderbilt team. And so I'm not as obviously optimistic as you are about this team. I'm still pretty optimistic. 7-5 is still decently optimistic.
Yeah.
But there is a chance that this is a special season.
But yeah, like even in your 7-5 prediction, like I think you would admit, like there's a part of you that's like, damn, dude, like what if?
This is the first time.
What if?
The first time I've looked at this roster and there are no gaping holes in the roster. Now there are weaknesses, but there are no holes that you look at, and there's always gaping holes on a Vanderbilt roster where you're just like, yeah, this position just doesn't stack up against high level competition or against the SEC in general. That's just not the case this year. I mean, every single position group, even the worst graded ones, are like a C- for me. So yeah, moving on to the next question, so we got to get off that one is. And we only have a couple after this, is Kendall Richards says, Virginia Tech has Enter Sandman, South Carolina has Sandstorm, Wisconsin has Jump Around, and so many others throughout the country have songs or team entrances that are iconic. I would love to see Vandy implement something like this, especially since we have a brand new renovated stadium. There's no better time to start it than now. whether it's a fourth quarter song or a team entrance song. What would y'all like to see, or songs that would be electric? I will say the stand up and shout has become a really good thing that Vanderbilt does. That's already implemented.
They play at weddings, and it was in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Shout.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying.
sorry. Yeah, that's that. About the Isley brothers. I think that and I totally agree. That's what I was actually going to bring up. They started that last year. If you've not been to a Vanderbilt football game, whenever they play shout, that place legitimately goes bonkers.
I will also say they've come out to it, I think, the last year or so. If you're in Nashville, you got to have something tied to that. God's Gonna Cut You Down by Johnny Cash is a pretty damn good entrance song. Like I would just stick with that, to be honest. That's pretty electric since you're in Nashville and it's Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
So I think they've started to do some things that I like and create those traditions. And it's a lot easier to create those fun traditions you look forward to when the team is winning as well. Last question we have here, and it's a fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, hell
fuck, marry, kill. Will Shepherd, AJ Hogard, and Jalen Carey.
Oh, God.
That's a brutal one.
I'm marrying AJ Hogard because even though he was bad, he never disparaged Vandy in any comments. So I'm going to marry AJ Hogard. I will have coitus with Will Shepherd. And then I'm going to kill Jalen Carey because he went to Tennessee. And Will Shepherd obviously made some bad comments, but he didn't go to Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going the exact same for basically the same reasons. I had a little hesitation between Jalen Carey and Will Shepherd. I just think Will Shepherd's were more, he didn't think through his comments as fully, and it was more of a dumb college kid way to handle the press conference he had. Jalen Carey's intentionally being dick and saying it about a coach and a program that gave him his shot.
Yeah.
And same kind of the same thing with Will Shepherd, but it wasn't as intentional.
Yeah.
It was targeted. So I'm going the exact same as you. That is all we have on the premium message board questions. Anything else you want to add on episode 330 before we close it out?
If you aren't at the bank this Saturday, what are you doing? That's all I want to ask. What are you doing? Why aren't you at the bank supporting the boys for the most hyped Vanderbilt football season of my life? If you live in, not just in the Middle Tennessee area, if you live in the state of Tennessee and you are not at the bank this Saturday, shame on you. You are a bad fan, and I stand on that. After all this team put on the field last year, and for you to sit at home on the couch and not come to this game, shame on you. Go support the Doors this Saturday.
Come to First Bank, buy a ticket, get in the stadium, get excited. If you consider yourself a Vanderbilt fan, you have to be there.
Yes.
Like you said, Trevor, I know you're hyped up for the season. Is there a message you want to send before we close out this episode 330?
Guys, I hit on it earlier, but I just want to reiterate. All the pain and all of the suffering that we have been through as Vanderbilt fans, people that didn't even attend the university, we have no reason to be Vanderbilt fans. We could have picked up and gone to Alabama or Georgia, and nobody would have batted an eye. We have no connection to Vanderbilt other than our parents like them for some unbeknownst reason to us. But still, by some stretch of the human imagination, we are here as Vanderbilt fans. And guys, I just want to ask you a question. On the eve of the Vanderbilt football season, why not the Doors? Why not Diego Pavia? Why not Clark Lee? You can't give me one excuse why. It was always the Doors. It's always going to be the Doors. It is the year of the Doors. Get to the bank on Saturday. Get to Lot 2 on Saturday. If you're not there on Saturday, I swear to God, I'll come and find you. Come support the boys. Come support the Doors. Anchor down, come 6 feet in the ground. Doors on top till I die.
Doors on top till I die. For myself, Will Byrum, my red-faced co-host, Trevor Hulan. This has been episode 330 of the Door Report, powered by 615 Collectibles. We will see you in Lot 2 and at the bank on Saturday. Let's fucking ride, baby.
Go Doors!